Okay, so now we're starting to get into some of the technical tricks that you can use to enhance your expression, convey your style, and make your performance more engaging for your audience. The first stylistic technique we're going to look at is vibrato. So very basically, vibrato is the effect that occurs when the sound you're making is oscillating or changing rapidly between two notes. And vibrato sounds like this. Ah. All right? So what's happening is that instead of just singing one straight note like this, la, I'm actually allowing my voice to move quite rapidly between two notes like this. Ah. Okay, as you can hear, it's important to be free from tension when you sing with vibrato because it's a technique that requires the vocal cords to change positions very rapidly in order to oscillate between those two notes rapidly, which is what creates the sound of vibrato. As we've covered earlier in this program, to change pitch, the length and tension of our vocal cords needs to change so that they're vibrating at different frequencies or speeds and therefore producing different pitches or notes. When we sing normally, even if we're singing some of the more agile phrases, this change in position is being consciously directed and controlled by us. We're controlling the pitches and notes we want to sing. We're making them happen. However, when it comes to vibrato, the change in pitch is so fast that we need to let go of that intellectual control and allow our sensory faculties to take over. In other words, trying to mentally control each individual note that makes up the sound of vibrato is too difficult for the brain to process because of the speed at which the oscillation between the two notes occurs. However, when it comes to tuning in and allowing the overall sensation or feeling of vibrato to be our guide, it's much easier to focus on the feeling of vibrato as one sensation than it is to concentrate on and control a whole bunch of things we need to do with our brains and voices to make vibrato happen. And this whole idea of making it happen is something I just want to talk about for a minute. Firstly, many singers believe that a voice with no vibrato is not a very good one, and I'd like to emphasize here that this is simply not true. I understand that it's a skill that many singers really want to develop because, let's face it, most people think that if you can sing with vibrato, then you must be a good singer. But what this often does is lead many singers who are anxious to be considered a skilled singer to imitate the sound of vibrato rather than producing it naturally and correctly, and they often do it through unhealthy and unnatural methods to create that pulsing or wavering sound of vibrato. Unfortunately, this kind of pressure to add vibrato to their vocal line often then causes the singer to rush ahead of their current technical abilities. Developing vibrato requires loads of patience whilst you work on your overall vocal technique, which is what will allow vibrato to occur. Even though I've included it in this lesson on style, licks and tricks, vibrato falls more under the category of style because there is no trick to singing with true natural vibrato, unless, as I mentioned earlier, you manufacture one, which often creates other issues in your vocal technique. The key is to give vibrato your attention by focusing mostly on developing your breath control, your clarity of tone, your energy and buoyancy of tone, and your vocal line, and then to being able to execute all of those things in a relaxed, tension-free way. In other words, vibrato gradually it generally goes hand in hand with your vocal development. All right. As your overall vocal technique improves, which includes clarity, placement, and resonance of tone, breath control, and relaxation of the body and vocal muscles, over time, vibrato will occur naturally and with very little effort. However, there are things we can do and practice that will guide us in the direction of developing vibrato. So let's move right along and do a couple of simple exercises to free up the voice in preparation for singing with vibrato.